everyone. I am Beatrice. Thank you for joining us today. We are live from the studio at Cityscape Global in Riyadh, and I'm so excited to be here today with Vicente Guallart, former chief architect of the city of Barcelona, founder of Urbanitry, and co-founder of the Institute for Advanced Architecture of Catalonia. Welcome, Vicente.
Good morning.
Good morning. So to kick us off, you have long championed the idea of ecological cities and self-sufficient urban systems. So what does a true ecological city mean to you, and how does it extend beyond just the green infrastructure?
Histories are the biggest infrastructure that has created humanity, and we make cities in every age, depending on the resources that we have around and so on. So during the 20th century, we had a very fast economical growth with the industrialization of Europe, America, and many other places. And now we realize that this is not a good way to make the cities, because somehow can destroy the planet. I mean, the planet is warming, the climate is transforming the way we live. No, so that means that we need to go back to the nature. We need to go back to follow the rules of nature in order to create our cities and to see how we live. Forests are incredible because forests, they absorb CO2, while cities produce a lot of CO2 with oil in our cars, petrochemical and so on. So we need to find a balance between the progress of living together and growing our cities, and then to use ecological principles. For example, don't move yourself too much, or produce as much energy as you can using green resources. I was in Neom a few days ago, and they have an incredible infrastructure in order to generate energy using the wind turbine. So I would say that we need to go beyond the fact that we need to plant trees and create shadows, especially in a country like this one. But at the same time, we need to follow some ecological principles to build our buildings, our neighborhoods, and our cities.
Fantastic. I love that perspective. And so low carbon buildings are becoming essential, right, as cities aim for net zero targets. How have you integrated low carbon design in your projects, and what lessons would you share for large scale real estate developments?
Yeah. The 40% of the emissions of a building are produced during the 2 or 3 years that the buildings are built. So that means is what is called the embedded CO2 emissions. That means that coming from the material and from the way we build. Obviously, if we do a building that produces energy and use few energy, in the future, when we run the building, it will have low impact. But the biggest impact is during the construction time. So in Barcelona, for example, we have we made the tallest timber building in Spain, using local timber and using industrialized systems in order to shorten the process of construction. So using new materials like timber is fundamental for the future of construction. I know that in a place like Riyadh and in Saudi Arabia, there is not too much timber, but there are not too many other materials. So that means that many materials need to be imported. And from that point of view, importing timber or developing plantations. I have seen also the idea of greenering the territory here. I saw many examples also in Neom. I think that this is an important strategy. In China, for example, they are transforming part of the desert into big plantations, also in some parts of Africa. So from that point of view, I think that part of the future of construction is connected with using ecological materials like timber. But there is another approach, that is the great opportunity that there is here in Saudi Arabia, where there is a huge development, and then the idea of using industrialized construction systems should be developed and should be implemented. In the same way that, for example, the electrical cars had many companies has start from scratch, no, and has created companies that are not an adaptation of the oil, cars, and so on. So now what we should be expecting in an advanced country that want to leader part of the world economy, and especially the regional economy, is to implement new technologies to make their buildings from the construction point of view, but also from the management point of view, connected with the smart technologies.
Fantastic. Thank you for sharing those insights. So, moving on to superblocks. The concept of superblocks, or large-scale pedestrianized, low-traffic neighborhoods, has gained lots of traction in cities like Barcelona. How do you see the superblock model evolving, and how can it contribute to citywide sustainability and livability?
The superblocks, the idea is to avoid the traffic passing for every street in the city, and then to somehow concentrate in every 3 streets, every 500 meters, and then having local traffic inside these 500 by 500 meters. By the way, this is something that in China also they did for a long time. And if you see today here in Riyadh, but also in Alula and other places, the idea that you make the historical center as a pedestrian area, that's good, no? And this is happening. But the radical idea about superblocks is to apply this idea to the whole city. And then in places like Riyadh, I see how this could be applied, because I would say the fast roads are every 2 by 2 kilometers. In America, for example, is one mile per 1 mile. And that means that the passing roads could be those ones. But then inside this area, you could have slow area traffics and places that are mostly pedestrian. So the idea that the city must have a fast way to move around using especially public transportation, but also your own car, I think that that's good. But the idea that your neighborhood should work at a slow speed, this is the goal for everyone, not only for the historical centers, but for every new neighborhood that is developed here in Riyadh or in other parts of the globe. We see many of these samples around the world. So in the future, I think we will not have private cars. We'll have more robots. Cars will be more like robots, and sometimes we'll be using on demand. No, for example, again in Neom, in the city that has been built for the workers, there are no private cars inside that. There are only electrical cars that, by the way, they are for free. So that means I think that this is an incredible new model, the idea that you avoid collapsing your cities with cars, and what you do is you promote public transportation that can bring wherever you want to go. So I think that the idea of mobility needs to be rethought in the cities for the 21st century.
Fantastic, thank you. That's really interesting. And so for cities in rapid growth phases like Riyadh, what 3 strategic elements should they prioritize if they want to transition towards ecological, low-carbon, and human-centered urban development?
Yeah, I think that these big structures with these fast roads will happen. But then the question is how you develop the neighborhoods, no? And then the idea of reintroducing nature, I think that this is something fundamental in order to create shadows. The idea of creating communities, no? Many of the historical settlements that we have here, we see that are produced by big aggregations of earth structures, no? Structures that, by the way, were built with the material that they had around the earth, or even the palm trees were used as beams for the buildings. So in the past, everything was much more ecological because there was not these globalization systems. Now the question is how we can become ecological, and from my point of view, the idea of greenering every district, creating more compact buildings where you have streets or passage inside the blocks that are also shadow. And at the same time, having the production of energy in the building themselves could be part of these new strategies. And the most important strategy is beauty. the idea of using good architecture, the using good design, because beauty inspires people, the daily work, I would say. And then from that point of view, I think that architecture is a fundamental tool to create a good living place.
Yeah, oh, absolutely, absolutely. And now to wrap up, finally, from your global experience, what is the biggest barrier to scaling these advanced urban models, so ecological cities, low carbon buildings, super blocks, and how can public-private partnerships help overcome them?
You know, the biggest barrier is the mindset of running business as usual, no? So many, I would say, people, even investors, are not worried about the middle and the long-term impact of their developments. They are interested in, well, an idea that we had also in Spain, that is build cheap, sell expensive, and run away. And this is an old, very old model, you know, because now many people are doing building to rent. Many people are interested in the management or in the development that they do. So their goal is to have the long-term satisfaction for the people and also for the city. And then from that point of view, what we need to have are good developers, we need to have good clients, we need to have a good partnership between local and international knowledge. This is something that we learned. When I was a kid in Spain, we were more almost like a non-industrialized country, and we learn a lot from many partners from France, Germany, America, and so on, and UK. But now I learn the benefits of cooperation, the benefits of involving intelligent people in developing projects, and this is the best way to make a livable city.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much for talking to us today, Vicente. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you to you.
Thank you so much, everyone, live from the studio at Cityscape Global.